Hi guys.
Hi guys.
It is Daniel
And DeMarcus.
and welcome to another beautiful, lovely, real episode of
Before Real.
All right. Of course, as you can clearly see, we're here. We do have a special guest with us. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we'll brag on him. But I just love the way he introduces himself.
Absolutely.
I give me the intro like you at a conference.
Take us there.
Take us to the
there.
conference.
Okay.
Take us to encuentro.
Alright. Hola todos. Hello everyone. My name is Jessie Claudio. He, him pronouns, and I am so happy to be here with you guys. I'm here representing the Latinos in the South program to the Latino Commission on AIDS.
Okay.
As well as a proud Memphian, specifically North Memphis. If you know, you know. So, I'm here to get into it, answer any questions, hopefully share some new stuff, put our community on game, and remind them of who we are.
Period.
So before we get into the topic for today, and set the stage for that, let's do a check-in.
Okay.
It is the weekend when we're recording this, so you've already had a full week.
Yes.
How was everybody's week?
Ooh, okay. My week was pretty good, honestly. So I think that I was able to do some productive things. I'm a little months ahead, so I'm not mad there. Come on. I've been in my social media bag doing some content creation and stuff like that, so I'm super excited about that. Other than that, I'm just chilling. I can't wait to dance. I've been dancing every fucking weekend, and I just want to dance. That's just where I'm at.
Shout out to the DJs. Shout out to the DJs.
Bring back actual mixing, please.
Okay.
No playlist, no listening.
And like our girl Doja said, put the phones down and dance like no one's watching y'all.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It ain't about being cute. It ain't about having the freshest, dopest move. You know what I'm saying? Just get out there and just
Make
shake
it.
some ass, shake some culo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Jesse, how was your week?
My week was very productive, very busy. So as you guys mentioned earlier, we are about to have encuentro. For those of you guys who don't know, encuentro is the Spanish word for convening, the reunion, the gathering. And we have it each year throughout the South. This year's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be in October from the 13th through the 16th, if I'm not mistaken, or 14th to the 16th. It's going to be the second week of October, but we're super excited. We're just putting the last final details together, but we're essentially ready to go, ready to be in community. And so that's been a lot of work, but it's also been very rewarding seeing what we've been able to put together for our community this year. And when I'm not doing work, I'm out here boots on the ground, as you guys know. One of the reasons why we're here today, one of the topics, is that Memphis is under military occupation. And so, not only as a proud North Memphian, but also as a proud gay, Latino, indigenous man who has immigrant parents, there's a lot of things that are going on in our city. And there are certain groups in Memphis that are being disproportionately impacted by this. And so one of those groups is the Latino and immigrant community here in Memphis. And so me, with a couple others, are doing our best to really go into community spaces, neighborhoods, churches, and just educate them about their rights, share tips, and just get them as prepared as possible, because what's going on right now, not just in Memphis, but in our country, it's sad. It's a disgrace. It's a human rights violation.
Yeah.
And so, I'm over here trying to put, folks on game. And so hopefully today we'll have a good conversation that will kind of give a little bit more context around that.
Absolutely.
But I've been super busy, but also really good. And again, trying to balance, giving to community, but also making sure that I'm also taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Prior to coming to this amazing blog, I took a nice bike ride on the Green Line. And so it was.
Because you did do an outfit challenge.
So, it was that balancing, kind of clear my mind out, be in nature, and then get back to the work that needs to be done, you know? Because we do not have the privilege to not do nothing, okay?
No.
Like, so.
Okay, you're checking me. because so like Jessie said, so yeah, we're going to be really talking about, of course, this episode will still be coming out while National Guard and federal agents are here in the city of Memphis.
Yes.
They are here.
Yes.
We have seen an increase in state troopers. We've seen an increase of police officers, unmarked cars, just being on the highway, the streets, literally anywhere.
Yeah.
In the air, helicopters,
So, before we go into that, I do wanna give a disclaimer. As somebody, I'm speaking. This is an I statement. I am one of those people who felt as though I had the privilege to not really focus on this. And I don't want to say not to focus on this in general, because I definitely have been seeing a lot of the posts. I've definitely been seeing a lot of the marches. I've definitely been seeing a lot of the things that have been happening leading up to this.
Yeah.
And I think even with our current administration right now, it has definitely made me, and I think a lot of people really be like, okay, yeah, I need to really start paying attention to the news, because I think a lot of us, we all work in social service or some type of giving back into some sort of community. And I think a lot of the times, I know for me, when I get off work, the last thing I'm trying to watch is the news.
Yeah.
The last thing I'm trying to pay attention to is what's going on.
So true.
And I think I definitely abused that privilege for a very long time. And so I say all of that because I know we're going to be talking about some sensitive topics today. And I am not an expert. None of us here are experts. We are not politicians. However, we are people that work in we work in community. All of us are from Memphis.
Live in these communities,
We live in this community, so yes, it is time that I start to pay attention to what is happening. Especially being that I have family that lives in a lot of these areas where these police officers and these federal agents are being targeted.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you're here, Jessie, because I know, well, DeMarcus and I both know that you have been doing a lot. And so I'm glad you're here to kind of educate us a little bit what's going on.
No, for sure.
And we also have some socials and things that we'll call out for things that are happening here in Memphis, where to get correct information from.
Yes.
So I'm excited.
Yes. I want to quickly interject, if I may, Daniel, and just appreciate the disclaimer, because essentially what we're doing today is embodying and putting into practice community looking out for community, right? So it's not that we're necessarily these experts, but we are these individuals who are part of this community. And, you know, ultimately this is how we're going to overcome this, is by us looking out for each other. It's for us sharing whatever information that we have, but it's also our responsibility to make sure that what we're sharing is correct and accurate, and not misinformation or disinformation, because there's also a lot of that going on, right?
Absolutely.
But no, I appreciate that disclaimer. And again, I feel like there's a lot of people out here that resonate with what you said. And so I'm hoping that for all of us, again, to be more of a community conversation, right? Of us informing each other of what we know up until now, and seeing what steps we can take next.
So with that being said, so one of the things that kind of immediately came to me is like, so what are some things that you've seen or heard in community in response to how people have been navigating, taking care of themselves, or even finding safety in this particular way?
Yeah. So there's definitely has been a lot of immediate respond, which again, shout out to our nonprofits and to our community members also that don't belong to a particular organization, but are still much like us, citizens who give a fuck, excuse the language.
I mean, no, hey, big for real.
And so you know, it's essentially these individuals that have really been able to help us address what's going on. So some of those things we have been like emergency kind of town hall calls, if you will, or meetings where we're basically giving updates as we are finding information, because a lot of this also is being kept away from us.
Yes.
And it's intentional.
Absolutely.
And so we're trying to censor those that are going to be the most vulnerable. And in this situation, when we're talking about National Guard, police, federal agents, in Memphis, we're specifically talking about the Black community, the Latino community, the immigrant community, and also let's not forget about our trans siblings and those who are also experiencing homelessness for whatever reason, right? They are all being targeted. They are all being racially profiled, some of these people, right? And so we need to let individuals know that even though these violations are occurring, we still have rights that protect us. And so a lot of it has been kind of like educating, a lot of it has been bringing resources together.
Period.
And doing, honestly, a lot of underground organizing. Because as we know also, a lot of communication is now compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And so people have been using things like Signal, right, and other apps to help community organize and again and bring those resources together and find ways to address it because to be honest and transparent, no one's gonna come and save us, you guys.
No.
And so it's gonna be up to us, right? Unfortunately, our local government hasn't really shown a lot of supporting or backing of our immigrant communities here in Memphis. And so it's gonna be up to us to, again, not just look out for them, but for all these other individuals that are also gonna be impacted and are now being impacted by this.
Yeah.
What I do want to read is just some things that I have seen on social media for like people to just know.
Yeah.
So one is the Equality Alliance. They are on social media. They're on Instagram. They did a really good post, basically saying, Memphis, we keep us safe, know your rights. And so basically one of the things, so you had a right to remain silent. You don't have to answer any questions. Say, I'm exercising my right to remain silent. 2, you can refuse a search. Say, I do not consent to a search, do not resist, but make your refusal clear. Also ask, am I free to go? Making sure that if you get that yes, leave calmly. If not, you are detained, please stay calm and quiet. We're gonna share some other things that we have seen just on social media for people to follow and just know because like we kind of been saying, I have seen a huge increase in the number of officers. I hope you can't hear them, they in the background. I hope you don't hear them. But I think a lot of people are worried, they are scared, they don't know what to do. But as you kind of were saying, Jessie, I think this is a really important time for all of us to really come together, especially people of color. It does not matter the background, the ethnicity, or whatever, because what happens to one group eventually will happen to all of the groups.
That part.
And that also stands for our LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters as well.
Yes.
Of course, we know that we, because we are in the community as well, we are, of course, a much easier target, I feel like, a lot of the times. But what you see happening with one marginalized group does not mean that it's not going to happen to the others, because it will happen.
Exactly.
I literally saw a post, Jasmine Crockett talking especially to Black people saying, do not allow what you're just seeing what happened with this ICE stuff, being that yes, it's primarily been happening with our Hispanic and Latino brothers and sisters, but do not think that it cannot happen to us. Do not think it cannot happen to any other racial group, because it can and it will happen.
It has. It has. It just recently happened in Chicago, like this past couple of days or whatever, when they just went into like apartment complexes and just really just ransacked all these units. And even more so, just like my own coworker, whatever, they like literally had her complex like shut down or whatever, and just in search for people. And so I just think that we really just need to be like diligent about our messengers, how we're getting the information out, and just really just being intentional about like everybody is up for grabs right now.
Okay, first of all, yes, because you guys said so much.
I have a little bit of a brain fart.
I really want to connect some of these points. So if you guys
go ahead. Take your time, sister.
Because what Daniel and DeMarcus just said, you guys, I want to expand on some of those points. And again, earlier I was saying, right, everything is connected. Oftentimes we believe that things that are related to public health are only public health. Things that are related to the environment are only to the environment. Things that are going across outside of our country are linked to do with the U.S., right? But all of this is connected, and so bear with me as I make some of these connections to Memphis.
What is it? Take your time.
And on what's going on, right? Like being transparent. So going back though to knowing your rights and safety tips, and I appreciate that. So I created a document specifically for our city that I am happy to share with you guys, and y'all can access it. But essentially, it's know your rights and safety tips, encounters with police and federal agents in Memphis, Tennessee. It's in English and in Spanish. And so the reason why I created this document is because, as DeMarcus said, Daniel, my apologies. There is the double D's. There's a lot of resources, great resources out there. But I wanted to create something that kind of brought those together, and that it was also in a very simple, comprehensive way, because it can be overwhelming, right? It's like, oh my
I think that's how it is for me. It's
absolutely
overwhelming, so I don't know
how
I can.
And so because of that, I was like, one of the things that I can do is bring the resources together that I think are very important, strip them and make them as simple as possible, and put them all together in a one-pager that someone can easily look at it and understand what are their rights, what they can say, and things that they can do to keep themselves safe, but also if something happens, because oftentimes even when you do everything right, you guys,
something will still happen.
Exactly. So there's also tips and things that you can do afterwards as well. And so just to do a quick overview, right? So it talks about like before leaving your home, like what to do, like a little checklist, know your basic rights, like Daniel was saying, right? Also knowing that you have the right to also ask them to identify themselves, even though they might not comply, you guys. It's still important for you to ask that, because that is the right.
So to that, I know that a lot of the federal agents have been wearing masks.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point of them, of somebody asking them to reveal themselves or asking what their name is, do they have to take off their mask? Do we know?
Ideally, they don't have to. Well, they don't have to take off their mask or their covering, but what they do have to do is have some type of identification on them visible, right? So they can stay covered up, but they need to have a badge, right? Badge number, who they're working for, whether it's Memphis Police, whether it's ICE, whether it's whatever organization it is, right?
Yeah.
And then a name or a last name. Okay, because oftentimes there's a lot of people that are impersonating folks. There's also people that are legitimate of these agencies, but again, are using excessive force. And those are straight up violations. And so even at the moment, you might not be able to do anything. Later, there's an opportunity to, do an individual lawsuit, to do a collective lawsuit, right? And also just to track, and have receipts of what's been going on in our city and in our country. And so, but again, just because we ask doesn't mean that they're going to initially do it. As we've seen, we have videos of folks asking for these things, including for warrants, right? And they refuse to, and that right there is illegal what they're doing. But it's important for us to still say those things so we can have records, because they have recordings oftentimes, and for us to also record. That's another thing too. If feasible, right, and if you feel comfortable and safe, making sure that you're recording, that you're narrating everything that you're seeing that's happening, because again, even though at the current moment it might not protect you, it's still capturing and building evidence that you can later use. And so in this document, it talks about if you are stopped and questioned, what to say, if searched, if arrested. We give some additional safety tips, what to do in traffic stops, if your rights are violated, right, what to do, a quick guide on what to say. As Daniel was saying, I wish to remain silent and want to speak to a lawyer. I do not consent to the search. Am I free to go? Am I under arrest? For what charges? Those are the things that you have the right to ask, and they should and technically have to respond and share, but oftentimes, again, they themselves are breaking laws as they're quote-unquote enforcing them. And so it goes into a couple other stuff, some travel safety and legal risk for individuals driving in Tennessee. We have a couple laws right now that also, not only is it criminalizing immigrants even if they have lawful status, but it's also criminalizing those who might be assisting. And the language that is used is very problematic. So it does a basic coverage on that. And then at the end, this is the part that I'm really proud of. It has a list of organizations and lawyers' information that people can contact in Memphis. Because oftentimes a lot of us, you know, say that, you know, we should speak to a lawyer or whatever, you know, and at that moment you might not necessarily know of one or think of one. And so it doesn't have all of the organizations and lawyers in Memphis, but it has a good starting point.
Well, do you want to shout out some organizations?
Yeah, so
we can include, you know, socials and things.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Right Coalition, also known as TURC. We have the Immigrant Right Defense Center for Latino Memphis. We have the National International Center for Empowerment. We have Advocate for Immigrant Rights, also known as AIR. It's a group of lawyers that help with immigration-related things. And then there's Cooper Law Firm and a couple of other individual lawyers that you can contact. But yeah, and so to me, it was important to have this accessible because oftentimes people say like, know your rights, but what are they? And not just that, but also sometimes like, what do I say, you know? And
because we do live in a city where, unfortunately, sometimes if you're in a certain area, if you're in a certain neighborhood, and you're in a certain car, you're in a certain race, they will pull you over.
Absolutely.
Because,
absolutely.
So to that point, y'all, please make sure your car is registered.
Yes.
Make sure those tags are registered.
Yes.
As a girl who has unfortunately been in that predicament where my tags may have not been up to date, mine are up to date now.
Yeah.
They're up to date. But please make sure your things are up to date, y'all. Insurance.
Have car insurance.
Yes. Also remember, like, if you have not gotten a statement for your registration, make sure you check your emails and all those types of things because, of course, they don't send out the mail copies like they used to. As a girl that has is currently caught up in this situation where I don't have my tags, but where they're paid for.
Yeah.
Come on, want to have it. You know?
No, and I'm so glad that you guys are sharing this because these are the petty things that like, they're literally looking for things like that.
Everything.
Like your tail light is busted, you didn't stop long enough, or, you know, you yield, you didn't stop. They're looking at any excuse, specifically depending also on the driver and what the car looks like.
Yeah.
Those are also factors that come into play, right? But the reason why this is important is because earlier, Daniel made important statements talking about how what's going on isn't just an issue for immigrants, for Latinos, or for Mexicans, because it started off like that. That was the language, that was the rhetoric, right? That's why a lot of folks were like, oh, well, that don't got nothing to do with us because we're U.S. citizens. Or some folks were like, oh, well, that's what the Latinos for Trump get for voting for that, right? It's like, again, a them problem. But as we see, they're not discriminating. They don't care. It's not just Mexicans, you know, it's anyone who isn't white, anyone who doesn't look Aryan, right? And so there was a video on social media, I think it was in D.C., where they were showing officers choking a black citizen, a black U.S. citizen, American. And the person recording was like, hey man, you know, I thought you were only supposed to be choking Mexicans. And so, first of all, they should be choking nobody.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
let's get that clear. Let's get that clear. Okay, their job is to fucking de-escalate.
Correct.
Okay?
Protect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they're over here antagonizing, they're over here escalating, they're using excessive force, right? They're using all these military tactics that, by the way, are taught from Israel, which I'm gonna go back to it. Free fucking Palestine, my folks. Okay? And so they're literally basically racial profiling our communities, and the reason why, you guys, is to get them into honestly either a detention center, which a lot of in the US are privatized, and so that's money for those businesses. In Mason, Tennessee, which is less than an hour away, they open a detention center that can host up to 600 individuals. There is no coincidence that the National Guard and federal agents are in Memphis. They have a goal, and not just in Memphis, but people that are close to Nashville, people that are close to Arkansas, to Mississippi. Anyone in that area, they're gonna try to get them and put them there, you guys. Okay, so that's one thing that they're trying to do to immigrants, Mexicans, you know, Latinos. And then to the currently right now, because believe it or not, they're trying to find a way to deport U.S. citizens, y'all.
Yes.
This is not a joke. I'm not being funny. They are trying, and it is illegal. It is unconstitutional. You cannot deport someone that is from this country.
Yeah.
That was born here.
But listen, but while they're working that, what can they do? Do modern day slavery. What's that? Prison system. This is why they're trying to treat our babies, our 14-year-olds, as adults, right? So they can then go into jail that will then continue to pump money into these corporations to get basically cheap, free labor that is done by prison workers. You know? That is something that people oftentimes forget that we talk about, you know? And so they're putting Mexicans, Latino immigrants in detention centers, trying to basically deport them in the midst their rights are being violated, and then towards our, you know, Black U.S. citizens, they're trying to put them into the carceral system so they can have harsher sentences, so they can then literally abuse them and use them for cheap labor. And so these are all things that's going on right now. And they're saying that this is for what? For safety, right?
And I'm like, who is it protecting? Who is it keeping safe? Who is it saving?
Historically, when have men in uniform come to the aid of Black and brown people in this country? Please. And so this idea of them sending the National Guard, of sending these federal agents to clear Memphis crime or whatever, you know, I wanted to share some statistics with you guys real quick, you know, in terms of just the bullshit, how they use language, how they try to take our city, our narrative, and make it to where it sounds convenient and it sounds like they're coming to assist us. But truth is that they're coming here to cause harm. They're coming here to break families. They're coming here to arrest people for petty stuff. And they're here to inflict violence, literal, physical, and mental damage and trauma to us. And so I wanted to share with you guys that in terms of, again, the governor and the president stating that, you know, Memphis is out of control or whatever. First of all, if one thing we gonna be as Memphians is we always are fucking for real, okay? We're not perfect. You know, just like any city, any place in this country, we have our things that we still need to work out on, right? We still have areas of improvement. However,
before you go into
go ahead.
Especially with talking about Memphis, it's funny that we're kind of having this conversation because earlier this week I was at work, and for those of y'all that know me, I'm in a new job. I've been in training forever. But a young lady came down to Memphis for training. She lives in Nashville. And of course, we were giving her some food spots or whatever. And she was like, well, is there a certain time I need to be in bed? Is there a certain time I need to be?
Wow.
And, you know, the thing that always kills me about people when they talk about Memphis is you want our food, you want our culture, you want our rap artists, you want the swag, you want the accent, you want all of these things that make you feel cool and make you feel like you from Memphis. You want all of these things from us. Like, who is the number one rapper literally right now in the country from Memphis? Glorilla.
Miss Glow.
So it's like, y'all want these things. Y'all want to celebrate, you know, y'all want these things from Memphis. Y'all want to celebrate and put these on the pedestal. But then you be the same person that will say, well, Memphis is dangerous. I can't be out past 8. I can't be out past 9. And it's just crazy to me that people always paint this narrative of Memphis. I've literally lived here for 32 years. I had a very brief stint in Nashville as a child. But I've literally lived here my entire life. My family is from South Memphis over there off South Parkway. And I've literally never had any instances with crime. I've never had any instances where I have ever felt unsafe, anything like that, because Memphis protects Memphis.
Yeah. That's real. Say that again, actually. Drive that point home.
Memphis protects Memphis. And I've been seeing a lot of people make really harsh but true statements that need to be said, especially about protecting Memphis and protecting the culture of Memphis.
Yes.
Because again, you want to bite off our culture, you want to bite off of Memphis, but then when it comes to actually protecting and curating that safe space for Memphis, it never happens unless it's done by people from Memphis.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the creatives, shout out to all of those people who are creating those spaces, because truly a lot of people that have been doing this work and doing this activist work are the artists, are the culture creators, the culture curators of Memphis, Tennessee. And I am just so happy to be in a space where I can watch this like renaissance happening, where it's so many people getting into activism that you may not have thought were doing activist work. I'm sorry, DeMarcus, were you finna say something?
I'm not gonna, but you on fire.
Yeah, like,
she could do with Grease.
Well, no, like that statement earlier this week just made me like feel away because like we always hear that in a lot of spaces, especially when we go out of town. We do a lot of traveling for work. So when we go out of town, we always hear people say, "Are you from Memphis?"
Yeah.
Are you from
Memphis?
And you know,
Not the little one.
yes, I'm so happy to be from Memphis. Literally, all of us have been around this entire country. We have been out internationally, but there is no place like coming back to Memphis 901.
Baby.
It's no place like getting off the airplane and you just being in Memphis and feeling the humidity.
Okay.
It's hot. You get sweaty mess.
Okay.
But it ain't no place like Memphis. Ain't no people like from Memphis. So as I have been seeing a lot of people make statuses this week, the thing that I've been seeing a lot is Memphis protecting Memphis.
Yeah.
And that is, I really feel like what is going to have to happen.
Absolutely.
Because who gonna do it if it ain't us?
Exactly.
And across this country too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also to that, you know, there was a TED Talk. I can't remember who gave it, but this is something that really stood out to me and stuck with me ever since. But Memphis, whether you're born here, whether you're a transplant here, Memphis, the way it was explained was that Memphis is those cities that if you love on Memphis, Memphis is gonna love you back.
Hello.
And if you talk ill about Memphis, that's gonna be your experience. That's gonna be your reality because that's all you see, right? And so I always tell people like it depends on who you meet because who you meet is what you get to see of our great, big, beautiful city. You know what I'm saying? If you are with someone who all they do is talk down and talk ill about our city, it's gonna be hard for them to show you that beauty. But if you have someone who reps hard and appreciates, you know, the culture, the food, you know, the embodiment, the soul of Memphis, you know, you're gonna have a whole different experience when you come here.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Because I don't think I ever brought somebody down here to Memphis and they ain't never had no good time. Because one thing we gonna do, we gonna make sure we gonna be fed.
Yes.
We gonna take you somewhere to have a good time, shake a little song.
Yes.
And you gonna leave happy.
Period.
And we gonna give you a little culture.
Come on now.
Look, and that's why I say it's so important for there to be people that stick around to make sure that these stories and this type of activism and mobilization happens. Because my thing is, if everybody flees the city and everybody has something to say, who's going to be here to take care of us? Make sure that our people get the resources that they need. Make sure they get the love and community care that they need. Like, we need so many things, but yet nobody's making it happen.
Yes.
You would much rather put all this money.
Baby, my sister was finna really go there. My sister was really finna go there.
But you would much rather put all this money into like all this militarization, no after school programs, make sure individuals, there we go, get fed. There's just so many things that need to happen that we just choose to just look over. But for the ones who are here that take care of ourselves and making sure that we get what we need, pat yourself on the back.
Yes. Yes. And let me tell y'all something. Real quick. You know, that really famous YouTuber Speed came recently and he said himself that our city was more lit than Nashville. But also back to the receipts
to 40 million followers.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me? But the receipts. So, what data shows? So, data reportings that suggest crime in Memphis is at or near historic lows in several categories such as robbery, burglary, larceny, homicide, and motor vehicle theft. Okay, overall crime from August 2025 to up until now, the MPD, the Memphis Police Department, reported 28,660 overall crime incidents from January to August to 2025. A 23% decrease from the same period in 2024. Okay, and then also Demi was over here on the pulpit talking about investment in community, and I want to give some receipts for that too, because again, the language and the rhetoric that they're using as an excuse to do this Trojan horse is that they're coming here to save us. We do not need fucking saving.
We don't.
Okay, Memphis keeps Memphis safe. Okay, and so we do not need no white saviors. And if they really cared about our safety, in April 2025, the U.S. Department of Justice reportedly terminated hundreds of public safety grants towards community violence intervention, victim services, and other things around that nature, taking back remaining funds in some cases. A council on the criminal justice analysis suggests that roughly $500 million in outstanding grant funds across many programs were pulled back when those cuts were announced. So, if you want to talk about safety, and keeping our streets, whatever, you would have never done that. You would have allowed those type of funds to continue to help people in not just cities like Memphis, but across the nation, right? To continue to do the work that we've been doing, right? Because it is these organizations, it is these community, neighborhood elders and leaders that, really are out here pouring into community, keeping each other safe. Because again, respectfully, men in uniform have never really been to the protection.
They've never come to our aid.
Exactly.
They've never come.
If anything, we know there's like this trauma that's the last person who you really want to contact unless it's really needed, because oftentimes what do? They escalate situations.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So speaking of escalation and all that's going on, what are some things that you would try, or some tips that we would want to give our listeners how to take care of themselves during these high stress times?
I want to start with you first.
Me? Okay.
Because baby, the people already told us after watching the episodes, they said DeMarcus didn't talk enough.
I didn't talk enough. Okay. For those who don't know me, I talk way too much and I'm way opinionated or whatever. But I do like to kind of chill and kind of like get a...
Girl, talk.
I'm here.
Talk.
So for me, honestly, I am an avid concert goer. I am one to have changed my routine, but I still also like to have a little fun. Mm-hmm. So y'all, definitely find those communal spaces, whether it's with just friends, family, loved ones, but the people that you care about, find them, shelter them or whatever, and just have fun. So that's one thing that I've done to kind of take care of myself. I also have been a good steward of sharing whatever information and stuff that I get. Shout out to Free the 901 for the information that I posted this morning about all the traffic stops where the highly populated or dense areas that they want to patrol and those types of things in regards to the National Guard and those types of things. So making sure that you're sharing the information out has been good for just not only my own mental, but just making sure that my friends, family, and loved ones are taking care of themselves and are aware in that way. Me, full transparency, I do talk a little bit or whatever. So you can take with that what you will. But that has been honestly something that has helped cope, just with everything that's going on, just having a little sense of just ease.
Yeah.
So definitely one of the things we wrote down was managing your news intake.
Yes.
And so, as I stated, at the beginning, I definitely was somebody that kind of abused that privilege of feeling like, well, it's not affecting me directly, so I'm not watching the news. Yeah. But I'm managing now. I take enough in, I see what I need to see, I share what I need to say, because I think that's something that we really need to look at as a good tool to utilize getting information out is social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know a lot of the times there is misinformation, so definitely make sure that you are making sure that you're understanding who you're following, who you're getting your information from, because again, there's a lot of misinformation going on. So managing how much you take in. As DeMarcus said, I'm definitely somebody that is a concert goer, a music goer. I think it's been really great that we've been having so many DJ sets and opportunities to dance. Because, of course, a lot of things I say relate back to Beyonce. And y'all remember during Cowboy Carter where she just dances and Blackbird and everything, and she just frees her body. And I really think I saw somebody do a kind of deep dive into that and the whole cultural semblance of just being free in your body and just releasing so much. Yeah. So I'm so happy that we have been able to just go to these sets and just dance. Yeah. Because I think that releases so much tension and stress that we go throughout the week. Because at the end of the day, we still have to go to work, y'all. Yeah. We still have to go to work.
Get your coin.
Yeah.
So do what you.
Some sugar.
Hey, if you are a girl that can work from home or you ain't working, shout out to you. Okay. But majority of us going to somebody's job doing 9 to 5s because we still have to keep the bills in our life going.
Yes.
So do what you can. If you're in the place to donate.
Yeah.
But definitely manage your intake and please try to move your body some.
Yeah.
Can I make a point? And you said something in that last point or whatever. Make sure you keep your life going.
Yeah.
I know that we can get consumed with everything that's going on, but you still have your own life to live, and making sure that you're like making sure that you are the epicenter of what that looks like for you. Take care of yourself. Just saying. I just wanted to.
No, I love that. I love that last part because listen, one of the things that I tell people is that there's different ways you can get involved, right? It's like while still doing self-care, right? And making sure that you are balancing that intake of what's going on, right? But at the same time, you also have to understand that some of these people are literally putting their lives out there.
Literally.
Right? And so you don't have to necessarily be out there in the streets marching. You don't have to necessarily be any protests. You don't have to necessarily put yourself in physical harm in any way. But like liking a post, resharing it, you know what I'm saying? Like that allows people to tell their truth, to tell their stories because there's a lot of censorship going on right now. And so, you know, when you think to yourself like, I don't want to like this or I don't want to share this because I don't want to expose or add more on the feed, it's like you also have to think about the person, right? The person behind it, the person who is experiencing this, right? And right now, you know, we all have a duty as humans.
Facts.
Humanity's at stake right now, you guys.
Yeah.
Humanity's at stake, and so when we talk about what would you have done during the civil rights movement, what would you have done during Nazi Germany, whatever you're doing right now is what you would have done during those times. And it's not to make anyone feel bad, but to DeMarcus' point, there's a balance, right? You can still engage in a way that feels right for you, right? Because we know that there's, you know, people with literal physical disabilities, mental, you know, things be going on, life be lifing, right? But there's also things that you can do, right? And there's also spaces where you can also build community, right? And so finding those spaces where you can also build community while also kind of doing something to pour back and to contribute, I think are things that I enjoy doing. And something that came to my mind as Danny was talking about dancing and how it helps shake and take a lot of stress out of the body. I forgot who said it, but this was, it was a quote that came about during the AIDS crisis, where they would say, we would bury them in the morning, in the afternoons we would advocate and do the work, and at night we would dance. And so it talks about that balance, right? Where it's like you mourn what's going on, right? Whether it's through meditation, whether it's through consuming some of the content to a healthy amount, right? And then you go and do the work, whether it's your 9 to 5 or whether it's going into community and doing what you can. But then you also have to have some time for yourself to celebrate, because joy is a tool in resistance. And specifically, you know, Black and brown joy during these times, right? To know that in the midst of this fascist regime, that we still need to live our lives. We cannot let fear stop us. And so going back to what Debbie was saying, right, about making sure that you're centering yourself amongst all this stuff that's going on and what you're trying to do. Because at the end of the day, you are the most important thing.
Yeah. And
if you're not doing good, and if your cup is not full, and it's working from an empty space, you're not doing nobody any service, you know? And so
nobody.
It starts with yourself, and so I appreciate that because I recently had to get that reminder because it got to a point where I was going down a dark hole of despair. I'm not gonna, because you know this shit is real, y'all. You know, I have mixed status household, which means not everyone in my household is American citizen, you know, and so it really has taken a toll on me. And I've been doing this 90-day fitness challenge. And so I had a moment, y'all, where I was like, this is too much. I was like, fuck this challenge. I don't have the capacity for it because this is really shaking up my entire environment. But it wasn't until I had a conversation with someone that kind of echoed what Demi was saying. It's like, there's always going to be something going on. Whether it's a fascist takeover, a death in the family, you know, life is gonna be like y'all.
Yeah.
Because life is ghetto.
Yeah, baby, Earth at this point.
Do not recommend.
But it's this idea that you need to love you, that you need to center you, that you need to create a level of also discipline and consistency And that's how you show up for yourself. That's how you, show another form of true radical self-love. And sometimes we need that reminder because there is a sense of guiltiness,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to us, this idea of rest, whatever that may look like,
Yeah.
of like, it's a shame, like you have to be doing something, you know what I'm saying? Like, our folks did not come this far for you to just lay on your ass, but it's like, no, baby, they did. We deserve sometimes just laying our asses down.
Because they didn't have that option.
Exactly.
They truly did not
They did
have
not.
that option to rest.
And so sometimes I need those reminders, and that's why I'm so grateful for that individual, but also for beautiful souls like yourselves that serve as a support system and help me stay accountable and check on myself, because oftentimes we forget to do that. And so with that,
Period. I love you too, Mama. So, what are some closing thoughts? What is the call to action or anything you want to leave our listeners with?
okay,
So many things.
yeah, I would say just
Here, we're gonna do it like this.
Go ahead,
We're gonna give everybody a timer.
Okay, period. Yes, I like that.
Come on, Tyler.
So
I could be long-winded.
Look,
baby.
No,
I mean,
when I feel it,
we do like
So I'm
long-winded.
gonna give the timer.
Oh, I'm sorry,
but
stop.
if you feel, because I'm gonna give everybody 3 minutes. I think 3 minutes is a cute little amount of time to give some final thoughts.
Okay,
We're gonna give our, as the pastor said, we're gonna give our final 3 points.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna be here before you long, as pastor said.
Okay. I'm
I'm gonna set your 3 minutes. Okay. Let me get her. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Final thoughts. Jessie Claudio.
okay.
And
So quickly, one of the groups that we mentioned earlier that was going to be affected by this military takeover were those experiencing homelessness. I wanted to say that since the start of the Gaza war in October 2023, I should say genocide, the U.S. has approved at least $17.9 billion in security assistance to Israel. Now, mind you, there was a research done that suggested that it would take roughly only $10 billion to essentially end homelessness in our country.
which literally people, I'm sorry to cut, which literally people living here have. We have billionaires
And
that literally could do that.
And so we choose to criminalize homelessness. We do not care about these individuals, and by we I mean the system, because if they did, they wouldn't be, again, over here arresting them, putting them into the jail for profit. They would literally be finding ways to put them in a home and, again, care for them. Another point that I also wanted to make in terms of why the National Guard and the federal agents are coming here, aside from immigration and keeping Memphis safe, one of our double D's mentioned the mass computer that Elon Musk is building in South Memphis, one of the blackest, poorest neighborhoods in our city. And so not only is the community have been literally protesting and trying to shut it down because it is adding pollution to an area that has already for the past 4 years failed the air quality test, okay? So there's not only environmental issues going in our backyard, but it's also environmental racism, you guys.
Yes.
And then, again, connecting it right from Israel to the funds that we're giving them for military aid that can be used for housing, what's going on with the environment in South Memphis with Elon Musk literally using his wealth to abuse and break laws and not taking the voice of our community into account, specifically our South Memphian siblings. I also wanted to connect that to public health. Not only is South Memphis where they're being impacted by the severe pollution of this super AI computer, but it's also the area with the highest numbers of youth with HIV. So as you guys know, Memphis, our city, ranks number 2, I believe, or 3, right? We're up there, y'all. We're definitely top 3. We're either second or third. But the point is that within our city, when you look at the zip codes in terms of where we have new cases of HIV, South Memphis, 38107, I believe.
6.
Again, the same zip code that is dealing with air pollution. And again, this oligarchy billionaire, they're dealing with so much again. So if you already have air pollution, and on top of that, you are also susceptible, or you're living with HIV, which is again affects your immune system. The health concerns, the health impacts, you guys, are astronomical. No amount of investment, no amount of money is worth it. That's why I shout out to Representative Justin Pearson, where he says Memphians' lungs, our lungs are not for sale.
Correct.
And so again, y'all, all of these things connect. Oftentimes we think that they don't, but they do. And with that, I give it out to y'all. Sorry. I was like, make those connections real quick.
No.
Because I was like, y'all, you know, we do public health, we do HIV, which connects again to the environment that is also a factor of how it determines the health outcomes of an individual, right? And then on top of that, when you're also dealing with people who are trying to raise concerns, but then they bring military over, and one of the things that they say you cannot do is gather up and, you know, disturb peace or whatever. And those laws are so vague, you know, that they can use that to shut down our voice, to try to strip us away from speaking our truth and letting know that there's injustices occurring in our city. So thank you guys so much. I know that was a little over 3 minutes, but
No, you're fine.
I need to let y'all know. I need to let the people know.
I said we could go over the 3 minutes.
We can just as long as you know we gonna get a little food or something afterwards.
DeMarcus, are you ready?
Am I ready? My closing thoughts.
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready. 3 minutes may be a little too long for me, but y'all, with all of those things in mind, making sure, again, to my point, just take care of yourselves, making sure that you're informing yourselves, your friends, your networks, even your little side buddies or side chicks or whatever. Side pieces, however they identify. Make sure they're informed as well. Also, again, making sure that we show up in a way that is impactful, making sure that people see us, know that we here, and knowing that we not going for this shit. Real shit. Like, I don't know how clear that could be or whatever, but make sure people understand that we're not going for this, okay? And my last point or whatever, move your body, touch some grass, you know, stretch, do something, whatever, because again, okay?
Did y'all hear?
Listen to her. She know what she's talking about.
Because this stuff, it lives in your bodies. It lives in your body. So make sure that you stretch, touch some grass or whatever, and take care of yourselves.
Is there any music that you would suggest to do that to?
Oh, so right now I was doing yoga to Vi. Make sure you go out there and stream that Doja Cat, because she's looking for those streams. Okay, period.
You girls will not play in her face.
You will not.
Especially when she made a masterpiece. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know all you gays love the 80s. We love that time.
Okay,
So
Miss Donna Summers, all that good stuff.
give the girls some strings, because the album is good.
It's really, really good. So speaking of gorgeous individuals, Daniel, why don't you close us out?
So I'm gonna. Okay, DeMarcus, you still had a little minute, but you know.
I told you I ain't need all that, baby.
Okay.
I'm the GOAT, Capricorns.
Baby.
So, my closing thoughts. So, for one, I really challenge everybody, especially as somebody, again, that was ignorant to a lot of this stuff and still is. Read, open a book, open a news article, actually read the full article that you see on social media. My mom always says, and I will always take this with me, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. And that is exactly what is happening. Read these fine prints, read these posts, read these documents, listen to politicians who are speaking to community, who are not trying to get over on us.
Yes.
I think, as Jessie said, shout out to State Representative Justin Pearson, who has been doing a lot of great work in really making sure that people are informed and getting the correct information. This is going to be affecting all of us. Whether you live in Cordova, Germantown, or Carterville, or you live in the Bay, you live in Raleigh, or you live in Orange Mound, or you live in South Memphis, it's going to be affecting all of us. So it does not matter what your economic bracket looks like, it's going to be affecting all of us. Another call to action is definitely to my pastors, my religious community. We live in the Bible Belt, so a lot of people are listening and looking towards you all, because we know that you are the leaders a lot of the times when it comes to this, we can even look back at the civil rights movements. Pastors were very integral in getting information out.
Say that.
And so
Say that.
I'm really calling out my pastors. Not saying that we haven't already seen that. I think people are starting to activate really heavy, but it's really going to take all of us. Even with that, I know we have also talked about self-care. So making sure that you're having those cutoff points. So if you've been looking at news all day on TikTok and Instagram and reading stuff, make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because again, a lot of us still have to go to work the next day. A lot of us still have a job. A lot of us have children. A lot of us have families. And so please make sure that you're prioritizing yourself, because it's going to be real interesting. And my last thing, I think the little bit of optimism that I really have been keeping in myself with a lot of the things that's been going on with our administration is, y'all, next year is mid-year elections. We are having elections next year. Please.
Yes, please.
Please. I am begging. Everybody, whether you like politics or not, whether you believe in these people or not, we still have some type of opportunity, and I really do not want us to play this like we try. Like, no shade, we played their presidential election like this year because people thought people were going to show up, and we didn't.
They thought Project 2025 wasn't real neither. We already 50% through that.
Correct. Like let's not forget that we are still in this man's. Let us not forget that we are still in this man's first year.
Yes.
We ain't even gotten to the end of this man's first year. So, y'all, when I say please take this seriously, I know I was not taking it seriously. I'm taking it seriously. I'm making sure that I'm reading. I'm making sure that I'm getting the knowledge. Because y'all, when the shit hit the fan, like it's already been hidden, we need to be ready. We need to be ready.
Absolutely. And real quick, I think if my only call to action, just to echo what Danny was saying, if you're gonna start with information or reading anything, start with your constitutional rights, specifically the knowing your right, that you have the right to remain silent, right? You don't have to talk anymore unless you have a lawyer present. That you also have the right to refuse a search, whether it's on your body, whether it's your vehicle or your home, right? And then that you have the right to a jury, right, to due process. And so regardless of whether you are a U.S. citizen or not, these are constitutional rights that we as individuals who are living in the United States of America have a right to. And even though people are abusing them, knowing them and verbalizing them will help out you guys. So please, 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 again, as you're navigating these times, making sure that you know your constitutional rights, because they will come in clutch, you guys. They will be the thing that can separate from you getting some level of justice to getting nothing and just have your human rights completely violated, which, as we see, has been going on not just to immigrants but to U.S. citizens. They do not care at this point. Okay, if you're black or brown, they're coming for your ass.
Correct. So, thank you. Y'all have heard it here first. With that being said, know your rights, take care of yourself, get involved, and be for real about what's going on. Like, don't shy away from it. Welcome it, embrace it, work through it, and dispel that shit.
Because it's already here, y'all.
It's here.
It's here, so you might as well deal with it.
It's here.
So make sure that you guys are, of course, following Headliners at Headliners 901 on Facebook, Instagram, as well as now, of course, following the YouTube page, and of course, following us on all major platforms for the audio. So that's Apple, that's Amazon, that's Spotify, all the girls,
all the things,
that you can listen to.
All the things, them, the girls,
the
boys, all the things.
Social. Oh, also make sure you follow me at Oreo Delight 2. I'm sure there's not another one. So
I guess y'all can follow me at Demi the Doll, DEMMIE the Doll. Jason, where can I find you?
You can find me at press.claudio. That's PRES.CLAUDIO.
Press.
And do you also want to shout out Latino AIDS Commission?
Yes, specifically our Latinos in the South program. So if y'all want to follow us at Latino Deep South. You can follow our Instagram and stay connected to some of the work that we're doing in the South.
Yeah.
Gracias.
All right, signing out.
And
We need to do an after hours episode with Jessie.
yeah, I was like, let us know if y'all want Jessie to come back.
Y'all want? Oh, look at that hair. Oh, why don't you shake it right here for the camera?
She's shaking. She's shaking. She's shaking. Love y'all.
Peace for real.